Hello, Julie.
Hi, Mark. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. How's it going?
I'm well, thanks. As usual, very busy, traveling a lot, but it's all good. What's going on?
Do you remember the challenge we talked about in our last one-on-one?
Yeah, I do. How can I help?
Well, if you have a few minutes, I was wondering if you could help me work through it.
Perfect timing. Let me just hit send on this email and you'll have my full attention.
Oh, great, that would be great, thank you.
So, tell me what the problem is.
I was hoping Paolo from the client team could help us set up a meeting with the CTO at Jupiter, but he keeps putting me off.
Okay, well, we have about 20 minutes till my next meeting. How can I help?
I'd really like to hear your thoughts on how I can get Paolo to help me set up this meeting.
Okay, I understand that that's the current problem, but is there anything else that you might need Paolo's help with?
What do you mean?
Well, you need his help now to get the CTO meeting, but is there anything else you might need his help with?
Yes, Paolo is a key person on the project, and I just get the feeling he's not fully involved. I can't seem to get him on our side.
Okay, so it would be valuable to think about how to work more effectively with Paolo?
Yes, it would.
Okay, well, how about we aim to make a plan and some next steps?
Thank you, Julie. That would be really helpful.
Okay, so tell me about this meeting. What's its purpose?
We need to learn more about Jupiter's strategy for mobile over the next 2 years to make sure that we're completely aligned, so they can easily implement our solutions.
It's definitely in our interest to get quality time with the CTO. What's Paolo's relationship like with the CTO?
They've worked together before, and they're very good friends. I mean, Paolo could get us the meeting if he really wanted to, but I just can't convince him to help us out.
How many times have you asked him?
Well, I've been pushing for it for the last quarter. I asked him to arrange the meeting 3 or 4 times in our account review and team meetings.
So you're asking him in large group meetings?
Yes, and he either ignores me, or he pushes back by saying Jupiter's in the middle of a product launch and it's not a good time to distract them. I think he enjoys having control over the account, and he seems a bit protective of it.
That's interesting. How are you asking him? It sounds like a strange question, I know, but how are you making the case for this CTO meeting?
There's no mystery to it, really. I just explain why it's so important to meet with the CTO so we can get that alignment.
What are his objections to it?
He doesn't have any objections, really, except sometimes he mentions the product launch. But he just doesn't see the need for it. Also, he says the relationship is working fine, and he doesn't want to disrupt the current dynamic.
Yeah, I can understand that reaction from Paolo. I can also see why you want this meeting with Jupiter. Is there any value for Paolo to have this meeting?
Yes, plenty. The more solid our approach, the more likely he can hit his numbers and grow the account.
So it sounds like there's definitely incentive for Paolo to develop the account. And it sounds like there's ambitious plans for this Jupiter account.
Definitely.
Have your conversations with Paolo included what's in it for him? You know what's in it for you, but have you shared that with him?
Not directly. I thought it was pretty obvious, to be honest. Do you think I should spell it out?
What do you think?
Well, I haven't so far. I guess I could approach the situation from his perspective and not just why it's important to our team. How do I do that?
Well, how do you normally approach conversations with him?
They're very difficult. I always feel like I'm asking for something and it makes me very defensive.
Tell me more about the history of you two working together.
We've been working closely together on the Jupiter project and several other client projects before. There's never been any hostility, so I'm not sure why he wouldn't be more collaborative.
Yeah, so there's no reason he wouldn't want to cooperate, which it sounds positive. Okay, let's focus on how you two work together. Do you know Paolo well?
Not really. He moved here from Milan 3 years ago and he's been working on the Jupiter account the entire time.
What else?
That's about it, really. I mean, his team says good things about him, and he seems really popular with his clients and his team members.
And you said you make these requests in meetings, in front of other people?
That's right. Do you think that's wrong?
It isn't right or wrong, but it doesn't seem to be working.
No, it doesn't.
Do you ever have a chance to meet up with him outside of meetings?
Not really. Do you mean like have lunch or coffee with him?
Something like that, sure. Do you think that might help you get to know each other better?
I'm sure it would, but sometimes I feel like those lunches are artificial and a bit obvious.
But what if there was a good reason for the lunch, just like there's good reason for the CTO meeting?
Like an account review, or updating Paolo on our plans, or asking how we can help with his plans.
Exactly. Yeah, that way he sees the value and he's more likely to agree.
Okay, and then what?
Well, that's up to you. How do you normally approach these lunch meetings? How do you like to get to know your customers?
I normally ask them questions, about the weekend, family, and then I build up from there.
Okay, is there any reason why you couldn't do that here?
No, I guess not. But what about the request for the meeting with the CTO at Jupiter? How do I handle that?
Well, how do you normally handle meetings where you have to ask for something?
I usually work out ahead of time what I want to get out of the meeting and be very clear about my objective.
Is that all you think about?
Well, now that you mention what's in it for the other person, I should probably start thinking about that too.
That sounds good. So the preparation now includes your objective and what's in it for them. What else might you prepare for?
I'm not sure. I could think about what objections they might have.
That sounds great. What would that encourage you to do?
Look at this situation from their point of view, I suppose.
Anything else?
Well, I could think about how to respond to objections,
Great. What else?
how they might react to the request,
That sounds good. Why might that be useful?
because it would encourage me to think about how they feel about the whole idea.
Anything else?
That would help me figure out how to approach them so that I make sure I don't make things worse.
How so?
For example, if they're more businesslike, I can be more direct and straightforward when asking for their help. If they're more informal, then I can be more informal too.
That seems to make sense. How do you think this will work with Paolo?
Good question. Paolo seems a bit more businesslike in his approach, so if I adopt a style more similar to that, it could be more effective.
Okay, it sounds like we have a number of ideas to move forward with. What will you do next?
I'll look at Paolo's calendar and drop him an email suggesting lunch on a day I know he'll be in the office.
Great. Do you think that'll be this week?
This week is really busy. It might slip into next week.
But I thought you'd been trying to set this meeting up for ages.
Yes, I have, but there's a lot going on right now.
I understand, but if it's as important as you say it is, why wouldn't you try to set it up this week?
You're right, it is very important. If Paolo is available, I'll try to set up something for Thursday or Friday.
Good. So, when are you available to see the CTO?
Hang on, I haven't even set up the lunch meeting with Paolo yet.
Yes, I realize that. But as long as you can tell Paolo when you're available to see the CTO, you're making things easier for him. You're seeing things from his point of view.
Okay. I'll keep a couple of potential dates in mind for when I have lunch with Paolo.
Great. Well, I think we have a plan and some next steps. How do you feel about the Jupiter situation now?
I'm feeling much clearer about what to do next. Thanks for the guidelines on getting people to help me in the future.
I didn't do anything. You came up with them yourself.